Hi and welcome. My name's Ken Fisher and this is Livelink Training. Now in this video we're going to have a look at the levels adjustment. What's it all about? Now levels is a tool in Photoshop which can move and stretch the brightness levels of an image histogram. It has the power to adjust brightness, contrast and tonal range by specifying the location of complete black, complete white and where the midtones are in an image. So let's have a look at that. We're going to work non-destructively, so we're going to use adjustment layers. So I'll go down and I'll click on the adjustment layer icon at the bottom of the layers panel and we'll select levels. And there we have it, the levels adjustment layers come on the top of the stack. And over in the properties panel here you can see that we've got the adjustment layer. Now you can see in this histogram that this side of the histogram is black and this side is white, and in the middle we've got the midtones. But what's happened is that on this image, if you see just by looking at it, it's a little bit underexposed. So we can see in the histogram that that's absolutely correct, because from mid-grey through to white we've hardly got any pixels. We've got a few just lying along the bottom here of the graph, but the main focus of the pixels is squished up at this end, at the dark end between mid-grey and black. So we've got lots of dark greys and mid-greys but not many whites. So the image itself is quite underexposed. Now the levels adjustment does allow us to change this. What we can do, we can correct underexposure, and we can do that by dragging the white slider. So I'm going to click on that white slider and I'm dragging it in until I get to where the histogram starts, somewhere about there. And what that's doing is anywhere from, let's say that's now at 134, so anywhere from brightness value 134 through to brightness value of 255, which is pure white, it now forces all those pixels to white, so the image brightens up. Now we can move the midtone sliders a little bit to see if we need to do any corrections on the midtones, and that's not bad. Now I'll just show you exactly what Photoshop is doing when we actually make this adjustment. When we pull that slider into the middle, we're actually stretching out these pixels across the whole tonal range. Now to do this I'll just have to do a destructive edit for you. So we'll go to image and adjustments and levels, and we've got the same histogram, and if I make the same adjustment, move that in like that, that's okay, and then I click OK, I've now physically changed this image. And if I go back to levels again, I'll do image adjustments and levels, you'll see that I've now got tones over the whole tonal range. It's actually stretched out the tones that I've got to fill the whole tonal range. Downside of this with this kind of image is that you can see these vertical lines, they are actually like holes where there are no tones. If you can imagine, this has been like a piece of elastic and we've stretched it and stretched it, and then it's broke in several places, so we've actually got gaps, we've actually got holes. So long as we were only ever printing this at 6x4, you'd probably never notice. It looks okay on the screen and it would probably look okay on print. But if you wanted to print that at A3, you would start to see this appearing as banding in your image. So I'm going to cancel that, and then I'll undo that, and I'll step backwards to where we were. So this is the non-destructive method to doing the same thing, because now I can turn that on and off or throw this away and I can get back to my original image. I've not harmed any of my original pixels. Right, the next thing that levels can do for us is we can look at overexposure. This one. So we can see, looking at the image, that it does look quite overexposed. So levels will allow us to confirm that and to do something about it. So again, we'll go down and put a levels adjustment layer on. And here we can see the opposite. We can see that we've got plenty of whites. We've actually got a little bit of clipping here. We can see if it goes off the scale, we've got some highlight clipping. but then we've got nice tones all the way past the mid-tones, and then we've got nothing in the dark greys through to the blacks. So this image has no dark greys and blacks, so it's an overexposed, it's too light. So we can do the same correction. We'll grab that black slider and we'll move it in, and we can see that the image is suddenly looking a lot better. It's looking more contrasty. We can move the mid-tone slider a little bit again, just to give it a little bit more of a boost, and that looks a lot better. And again, I can turn that on and off to see where we've been. Now the third thing that levels can do is where we have a low contrast image. So if we have a look at this image here, we can see it's an all black and white image. It looks a little bit, it's not got a lot of pop. Okay, well, let's have a look at levels. We'll put a levels adjustment layer on again. And we can see here now that we've got no pixels going from the black to the dark greys, and we've got very few pixels going from the light greys up to the pure whites. So the image itself has low contrast. So if you ever see a histogram like this, this is the kind of image you will get. Now we can correct this with Photoshop, because what we can do, we can drag that white slider in to the edge there, and that's going to lighten the lights. That's going to push some whites into the image, and then we can move that slider into the edge of the histogram again, and that's going to push some blacks into the image, and that's going to reflect itself as contrast. We're going to see that image now as being more contrasty. So I'll just turn that off. You can see that's the original, and that's with the levels adjustment, more pop, because it's got more contrast. Well, that's it. That's our brief look at the levels adjustment and what it can do. And it can actually correct for underexposure, overexposure, and for low contrast. Do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, share it with a friend or two. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave me a comment in the notes field under the video. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.